Hi everyone, I'm Annette, client advisor at Providend. So growing up, I have a older sister who is a straight A student, and in comparison, my grades were average at best. I felt that even though I put a lot of effort into my studies, I still couldn't score as well as her. So I think over time, I just kind of decided that I'm not going to really put as much effort into my studies. As a result, I continued to score like average grades. So this is a lesson in trade-off that I carried with me into my adulthood. So when I started working as a young adult, I realized that there's certain things I want to do. Like I wanted to write, and if I wanted to do what I like to do, which is writing, then it's going to be like a trade-off because back then, writing didn't pay a lot. So it became like, if I wanted to write, then I had to contend with like less pay. If I'm okay to do something that I didn't really like, I could potentially get more pay. But I stuck to doing what I like. Yeah, so because of that, then I had to, make some trade-offs in terms of like what I could spend on. So back then in my 20s, I really enjoy traveling, and I kind of made that my priority. So I would focus on spending on traveling because at that point it was important to me. So because I spent more on traveling, then I had to like cut back on some other areas. Yeah, so this lesson in trade-off continued in my 20s and onwards, where I realized that I have to be very deliberate about how I allocated my funds and then exactly what am I spending on. So when it comes to trade-off, the acceptance of the trade-off and learning to really appreciate what I have, that's something that I really learned when I lived in Japan. So I was in Japan for 2 years, and for that 2 years I lived in a really small studio apartment that didn't have a lot of storage space. There are a lot of things I wanted to buy, and because I know I'm going to be there for 2 years, but because of the storage issue, I ended up actually not buying as many things as I wanted to, and I didn't want to get a lot of those like mobile storage units because that's just going to clutter the space. So over time, I realized that, hey, although I didn't buy that many things, and there are things I wanted but I didn't get, that was okay not having them. Whatever I had was enough for my daily living, and I wasn't in any way hindered or disadvantaged by not having those things. So I just went on living in that way where I had less, and I was actually quite happy having less. I think the other aspect of being happy with what I have is when I look at my space and it's neat and clean, it wasn't very cluttered. I think to some extent it gave me psychologically at least room to think and room to breathe. If I had a lot of stuff around me, I might feel like I feel a bit claustrophobic, and it's just on the psychological level. The other positive aspect of owning fewer things is that I get to use each item really well. So for example, the bag that I have, I'll use it until it gives way. Same for shoes. So in that sense, I get to maximize the mileage out of each item. So after a while, I realized that because I wasn't going to be buying so many items, I could potentially spend a bit more on each item I buy and go for quality. So this idea of going for quality and having fewer items just continue to be my philosophy until today. So that reduces wastage as well, and wastage is something I'm quite conscious about. So having worked across 3 sectors and in different organizations, I realized that working with people who have very different values or even very different work ethics from me can be incredibly painful, and also can give rise to a lot of conflicts. So when I was looking for a job, before joining Providend, I decided to emphasize less on the role itself and focus on the kind of people that I'll be working with. So I wanted to find an organization that had the same values and work ethics that I had, and I found that in Providend. So like many of my colleagues, we joined Providend because we were first attracted to its mission to provide honest, independent advice through a fee-only wealth advisory model. And we love the culture. Everyone works incredibly hard, and we share resources, we share ideas. We've got each other's backs. And if I have a personal issue or even a work issue, I know that there are colleagues that I can speak to. So this is why I'm very glad to be at Providend. So at Providend, when it comes to helping clients figure out their priorities and also potential trade-offs, we actually probe deeper to enable clients to discover what's really important to them and what they care about. As I start my client advisor journey, I want to help clients make decisions that they won't regret, knowing that they have a trusted partner at Providend that will protect them and also help them to achieve what truly matters to them.